version that's actually in Smash Bros. 4, although it would be a better alternate costume than the one we have. It's basically a Skyloft-esque costume for Link. Okay, those were some alternate costume ideas. How about I go over a few ideas I have for alternate characters? Here's a newcomer right here. Um, People talk about the Golden Sun representation. There's Isaac, but then there's also Matthew. How about we include one of them and have the other one as an alternate character? Something different. Like, oh, I want Isaac. No, I want Matthew. I want Isaac. I want Matthew. We're just gonna give you both people. Which leads me to another franchise that I talk about as much as Golden Sun, and that's Sin and Punishment. Issa Joe and Kachi. Even though you can make Issa Joe the main person, Kachi the alternate, Kachi the main person, Issa the alternate. Even though they don't technically fight like almost the exact same, they with their styles, especially in how they move around, because Kachi can actually fly while Issa Joe needs to use a jetpack. Their gun sword elements are fairly similar, and I can go along with that. Like, and their body structure is not all that different to the point where it's basically like a male and female version of, hey, look, we're going to represent Sin and Punishment with a male and female character. We can basically, for Ike, give him his son Priam, his son Paris, as an alternate. Same body structure, almost same sword, I believe. Like, and they fight exactly the same, so I don't really see a big problem with that. Dark Pit for Pit, people say, oh, that's just the colors change. No, let's actually make it a totally different character. Like, instead of saying, oh, look, it's just a black pit, let's just make Dark Pit a legit alternate character to him. We could have Elvis as an alternate to Shulk. They both wield the Monado anyways. They have the same body structure, basically. It works fairly well. Various different Mega Man characters. Like, we already have them inside his Final Smash. How about, maybe, even though they kind of have slightly different body structures, you can maybe work around that a little bit. And that leads me to another third party. Like how I said Castlevania should get a rep. Oh, Simon Belmont should be a rep because he's the classic. But then there's also Trevor. But then there's also Richter. But then there's also various other different things. How they all use the whip. Basically, they all basically use the same type of tactics. How about you make them alternate characters to each other? Like Simon Belmont could be the main one, but then you switch him to a different costume and it's Trevor. You can switch to another costume and it's Richter. You get who you want to play as. You don't want to play as Simon? Well, here's the whole Belmont clan for you. And the last one, basically, because I see people asking for this character quite a bit, but it would kind of be a Lucina clone in terms of almost a fighting style as well as a visual similarity. And people do ask for Ninten to be added on for the mother representation. So, all three main characters are in. But I think that's too much of a clone almost there. So how about you just make Ninten an alternate character to Ness? There's not that big of a difference between them anyways. And that's just a few other ideas. There's obviously other ones, like Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf, or whatever. You can have other choices in there as well, as much as you really want. But basically, the big difference I see between these two, and why I think they should, why I differentiate them, is this: alternate characters, like I said before, are basically the same character, just in a different costume, just in a different thing. You don't really have to change anything about them besides their visual appearance. Alternate characters can work in a slightly different way than that. Alternate characters, like I said, are totally different characters that I think can work on the same style. But then people will be like, well, you really want to play as, say, Elvis when he's still being referred to as like Shulk, or you still want to play as, Priam when he's still being referred to as Ike? No, but who says they would be? Like Sakurai said, Lucina was originally supposed to be an alternate character, an alternate costume, for Marth, and that's not Marth. That's his his great 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 granddaughter. That's a totally different character. That's not even Marth. That's a different character. And people will be like, how is that an alternate costume? It's a totally different character. I know they look the same, but wow, they aren't really the same character. That's not really saying, oh, we're going to give the NES Open costume to to Mario, or the light suit to Samus or something. We're going to actually go out and Sakurai was originally just going to give Marth like a costume that wasn't even him. And he basically said it doesn't matter if the voice is different or the name is different or stuff like that. Like he had like specifically a different like he basically had like a quote, especially when it came out why he didn't choose Crumb. It's like it doesn't matter if the character's like name is different or voice is different or whatever stuff like that. As long as they fit under the same body structure and can work under the same move set and so on and so forth, it doesn't really hurt them. And if Lucina was going to be an alternate to Marth, you think they would still have the announcer say, Marth! No, he would have had the name changed to Lucina. She would have had her own voice. Just like how the male Wii Fit Trainer has his own voice, and while, like, female Robin has her own voice, and her, even though they're the same names, she would have had her own name. She would have had a different name and voice. And that, like, the announcer would have called her, this game's winner is Lucina, not this game's winner is Marth. Like, he would have went through with that. If he was originally planning on including her like that, he wouldn't have referred to her as Marth. He would have referred to her as Lucina. And basically, like I said, you can have a different voice. You can have a different name. It's just they have to kind of work under the same body structure and moveset. And that's a lot of characters. And I think that's a good way of including, hey, look, we have all these characters that are clones of each other, but we don't want to bump up the roster of clones. Well, there you go. You add them as alternate characters to each other. Or basically, like Dr. Mario, there's no point in bringing Dr. Mario back. Make him an alternate costume. But, like, that's a costume. Let's look at a character. Like I said about, Isaac and Matthew from Golden Sun. There are people that are on both sides that want both of them. And if only one of them is included, you kind of alienate the other side. How about you include both as costumes of each other? As alternate characters of each other. Like, the only difference I see is when it comes to alternate costumes, that's specifically just a visual difference. When it comes to an alternate character, it's a separate character that will get their own name and voice, and possibly if it works in their favor, maybe even a different win theme. Like, oh look, Daisy is an alternate to Peach. And I don't mean an alternate color, I mean a legit model that looks like flipping Daisy. It's going to say, this game's winner is Daisy, and it will probably play, instead of Peach's win theme, maybe like a Daisy win theme. Something like that. Like, that's the thing I see different. And people say, oh, that might be too much for a character. If Sakurai was going to do it with Lucina, I don't really think it's too much. And like I said, it gives us a nice way of throwing in a few extra characters without adding spots. We can have about 48 characters or so, and then, let's say 8 of those characters are alternate characters, so you kind of get in the 50s, but you aren't really in the 50s, because these are just costume characters. And that's basically like a nice way of throwing a little gesture to certain characters without totally having to give them their own spot. Like, that's basically the difference I see. And that's why I say alternate costumes versus alternate characters. I see a visual difference. And I do believe there is room for both. So, that's my opinion. That's my thoughts on alternate costumes versus alternate characters. Hope you guys liked it, and put in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think we could have alternate characters? Do you think it makes sense to include characters that, costumes that aren't the same character, that are different characters, just to kind of throw in some small or extra low representation, or do you think that's too much? And alternate costumes, like, how many other alternate costumes can we see? Or how many and on the same retrospect, how many alternate characters do you could potentially see happening? And throw in some ideas. Put in the comment section. I want to see what you guys think, because I know I totally missed a ton of newcomer costume ideas, alternate characters, and veterans we currently already have on the rosters in terms of alternate costumes and alternate characters. I know I missed a lot. So yeah, put in the comment section what you guys think, and like, name some alternate costume and alternate character ideas. I'd like to see. We can have a discussion and have some fun here. I'm Sniper is Fun. Hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe if you want to, and stay tuned for the next Smash Brothers Topic related video. Have a nice day, everybody.